Orcs Must Die is what I would consider an indie game classic. It's a brilliant mix of tower defense and action gameplay with a great sense of humour that carries it through some of the rougher sections. It's over a decade old now, having released in 2011, and despite it having some jittering issues with enemies and what was described to me as janky sideways movement when I was streaming it on Discord, Orcs Must Die remains one of my favourite indie classics.
That's it then. The world is doomed.
7.8 out of 10. If you're wondering why I'm releasing a review of a game that is 14 years old, firstly, shut up. I can do what I want. And secondly,
they're breaking through!
Secondly, I love this game. Orcs Must Die is the type of game that I played when I only had a crappy laptop that couldn't run Minecraft without perpetual Silent Hill fog, and struggled to turn because all I had was a trackpad and the burning desire to murder orcs. Now, in 2025, I have a computer that I could launch a small rocket into space with, and I'm still enjoying the fun that comes with defeating waves upon waves of dumb, stupid, idiot orcs. Nothing quite beats the sight of a big swinging mace destroying waves upon waves of orcs as they all stumble into their certain doom, as I sit at the end of my gauntlet and watch as they turn into chunks of green meat.
What the fuck?
The concept of Orcs Must Die is incredibly simple, yet done to a perfected sheen that you can hardly ever get bored of. Orcs want to get through the portal. Here is a shit ton of ways to stop them. Bon appetit. You've got the staples of the tar trap, arrow wall, spike trap, which all serve as the bread and butter of any single run. But if you want to get fancy, you can have some wall traps, the aforementioned swinging mace, a few guardian archers, or even a floor scorcher if you bought the DLC. There are a lot of ways to kill the orcs, but you'll come across your preferred way as you play the game, most probably in the form of tar traps, swinging mace, and an arrow wall. The game isn't perfectly balanced. Some traps are better than others, and though sometimes the map layout forces you to get a little fancy, the best way is normally the way you find through traps you work well with. Though the barricade is the one single trap that every player will use, because forcing the orcs to take the path you need is always handy. Orcs Must Die does have a story. The story is you play as an idiot who is fighting off waves of orcs from an evil sorceress until everyone but you is dead, and you decide to close all the portals the orcs want to get through so you don't have to die. It's not anything more than it needs to be, and the voice acting of the hero and the mentor managed to make what little there is work. The voice acting of all the characters, especially the orcs, manages to breathe a lot of life into the game on the whole, turning it from a generic action tower defense into something a little bit more unique. It never gets boring hearing the orcs ramble about retirement right before a big swinging mace smashes them apart. Again, I love the maces. They're great. They're the best trap. There are little bits of flavour added in to keep each level unique. Larger enemies like ogres that have more health and actively attack you keep you from always running out to meet the orcs and having you to use your trinkets like the ice amulet to stop them. Flyers force you to think outside of the single lane you're funneling orcs into and think a little more three-dimensionally. The fast kobolds are bastards. I hate them. They still suck even nearly 15 years later. Overall, Orcs Must Die is still a classic and a really well-made game that could probably run on most people's computers today because it was made back when my mind was still developing of first-generation Minecraft YouTubers. It sets a formula that is not only easy to recreate, but also simple to iterate on to create new types of traps, enemies, and maps without too much hassle. Of course, the DLC for the game is just exactly that. A few new enemies, a select few new maps, and a few new traps designed specifically for those enemies. But that isn't a bad thing. It keeps the meta of this game alive for a few more experiences, even if they don't hold as much of a candle to the main game. It gets good when the fun is doubled. Yes, that's a tee up for Orcs Must Die. I'm gonna review Orcs Must Die. Go watch that one as well, please. My review for Orcs Must Die 2. Because I played all of them because Death Trap came out, so please go and watch that as well. Thank you.